Trees can be big like these black cherries and apples, or small like these white spruces with a long way to grow. Trees can have rough bark like this black cherry. Some people say that this bark looks like burnt potato chips. Trees can have smooth bark like this gray birch. Can you see all of those holes made by a yellow-bellied sapsucker? Trees make buds and flowers and leaves. Look at these buds on a young beech tree. Trees make all types of seeds and seed holders. This is a pine cone from a white spruce. It's all closed up. And trees are homes for birds and other animals. This is a mourning dove nest in a Norway spruce in our front yard. Our vernal pool sit spot is at the edge of the forest, surrounded by different trees. Let's visit. Oh, look, someone else has been here. A deer. Can you see its hoof print? Hello, old friend.
It is Tree Week, and we have learned so much from the naturalists at Sheldrake this week. I am sitting right beside our vernal pool sit spot. There's a tree right in front of me, and its roots come down, down, down into the vernal pool, and they are covered in moss. This tree is part of our vernal pool system, and the tree itself is a system, taking water up through its roots that go through the ground, bringing it up, 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 up to the branches, out to the leaves, producing flowers, sometimes seeds, sometimes cones, giving us oxygen through those leaves, creating shelter and homes for all kinds of animals. We've talked about many things over the past few weeks, and I'm thinking a lot, and I imagine you are thinking a lot about how all these parts of the forest and of our world work together. I wrote a poem a long time ago in which I said, when the fall leaves fall down, they remind me of love letters. And I kind of want to write love letters back to all the trees. Trees do a lot for us, and we can do for the trees too, just by being out here, getting to know them, paying attention to them, learning what it is the trees give to us, and learning how we can take care of them too. So this week, we continue our conversation about trees, but trees, of course, are not on their own. Trees aren't alone. Trees work together with everything in the forest, with everything in our neighborhood. Trees work together with us, with plants, with animals, little and big, birds of the sky. Trees, no matter where you live, no matter where I live, and no matter where we'll live in the future, we will have trees.
But before we talk more about trees, let's look for tadpoles. Here you can see a little tadpole, and I am going to see if I can make him move for you. There he goes. Oh, bye-bye. And now, back to Tree Talk in a new spot.
Hello, second and third grade wild riders of Mamaroneck. Welcome back. We're here in the forest. You might hear the stream going by, the creek's making some little burbling sounds, and we are talking and thinking about trees this week. And I'd like to begin by sharing something with you about a different kind of drawing you can do in your nature journals. This is called blind contour drawing or modified contour drawing, and I'll give you a link later to this Guide to Sketching Trees by Claire Walker Leslie. And she talks about blind contour drawing and modified contour drawing in this little booklet, which is simply a free download. And all contour drawing means, if it's a blind contour drawing, you look at something with your eyes and then draw in your nature journal what you see, looking at the thing, not down at the page. Sometimes we concentrate so much at looking at the page that we don't really pay attention to what's in front of us. So doing a contour drawing, a blind contour drawing, can help us really pay attention to the lines and the shapes of what our eyes are following. A modified contour drawing simply means that you do the same thing, except sometimes you might look down. So I have a couple of those that I've done in my nature journal. We're each adopting a tree this week, and I adopted this apple tree, and you can see I drew it without looking at it. So you can't maybe tell that it's an apple tree exactly, but I followed it with my eyes, and I wrote hundreds of tiny leaf buds. It has a big round crown, although no leaves yet. I wrote, I noticed there are 3 trunks. I wonder why apple trees grow in such a craggy way. It reminds me of a wise old man. So these phrases, I notice, I wonder, it reminds me of, that we're familiar with, we can use with our tree writing. I did a little close-up drawing of the bark, and for that, you'll see this closer up later. I did look for that. And I wrote, once there were 3 apple trees in our yard, and now there are 2. There's some moss growing on the trunk. I did look here once and then stopped looking. So this, I would say, is a modified contour drawing. I did another one here of a tree. I still need to figure out what it is. I did a contour drawing of it here, and then I did a drawing looking at it here, including some notes about what I see, the lichen growing on the bark, that it's rough. I wonder sometimes when there's a tree, why new trees grow up right near the base. So I wrote some questions. I did a close-up of the leaves where I did absolutely look to draw those. So to do a contour drawing, let me just kind of show you. I'll turn around so you don't see me. You'll instead see my notebook. There's a tree behind me, right here. And I'll just do the kind of big one here, and I'll just do a little bit of it so you can see. My cap off. Get a little closer, maybe. I am looking at the tree and not at all at my paper. Branches, littler branches, some buds. Okay. So here it is. And I just did this for a couple seconds, but if you do this, you could even set a timer for like 5 minutes and have yourself follow the lines of the tree for a certain amount of time and just keep going. And if you look down for a moment and then look back up at the tree, that's fine. But what this does is it helps us see the shape of the tree in a different way. Sometimes we have a tree idea in our mind and we just draw 2 sticks and then a big old curly puff on top. But when we look at a tree, we can see where the angles are, branches are coming out, and we can think about it in a totally different way. So contour drawings is one thing to think about this week with trees, and then you might choose to do close-ups of branches or close-ups of buds if you can see them, or leaves or flowers, or if there are any seeds from the previous year like pine cones that have fallen, or seed holders, anything that's related to that tree. If there's a hole in the tree, you could do a close-up of that. So that's one thing, is trying a new kind of drawing. And I did that here with the apple tree. I did not have any leaves to draw because my apple tree has not leafed out yet. So I looked at a book, at some pictures, and drew leaves and also what the blossoms look like. And so what I wrote today, and what I'm going to invite you to play around with writing today, is imagine that you are taking a walk somewhere and you have a conversation with a tree. And a tree talks to you and you talk to the tree, and who knows what happens in that conversation. The tree might tell you about its life. You might tell the tree about your life. You might learn something new about trees. But I was surprised by how much I enjoyed doing this. And we can think about information we've learned about trees from the naturalists at Sheldrake this week to help us do this. So here's what I have. One spring afternoon, I walked outside because I wanted to listen to the birds. But when I passed the old apple tree, I heard my name. Amy, said someone, but I couldn't see a soul. I looked to the left, nobody. I looked to the right, nobody. Nobody up and nobody down. Who was it? I heard my name again. Amy, it's me, the apple tree. I looked right at the tree, and sure enough, it was talking. I stood very still and listened for what it would say next. It was silent. Are you okay, tree? I patted its rough bark, just like I was patting my dog. Yeah, I'm okay, Apple answered. I just get a little lonely during winter. I'm glad spring is here. What do you think of my new leaf buds? They look great, I answer. I'm most looking forward to your apples. You make such yummy apples. I don't know how you do it. I don't know why you do it. Do you make apples just to be kind? I climbed foot over foot into the tree and felt the wind in my hair. But maybe it wasn't the wind. Maybe it was the breath of Apple, as he spoke again. It makes me smile that you like apples, but I really make them for the seeds. When I make lots of apples, I drop my seeds in those apples, and then my children grow from those seeds. I swatted a bee away and heard Apple gasp. No, let the bee stay. I was confused. I didn't say a word, but I could not figure out why Apple wanted Bee to stay. I made a face. You like apples? Apple asked. I just said I did, I replied. Well, apples need bees. All of my blossoms will be waiting for bees to come and to take and bring pollen from flower to flower. That is how apples grow. Bees pollinate my flowers, and apples grow, and you eat them. When you throw my apples, I remember that, you help new apple trees grow. But be careful. I watched as the bee landed on a flower. It was so serious and deliberate and slow and busy. I did not want to slap it away anymore. I never knew bees were so important. Hi, bee, I said. I didn't know where this was going to go when I started with it, but I knew I was adopting the apple tree to think about this week. The apple tree was the first tree that I did the contour drawing of, and I wanted to think more about that. So I encourage you, draw some trees, draw far aways, draw close-ups, try a contour drawing, either a blind contour drawing where you don't look at all, or a modified contour drawing where you look a little bit. And then once you've adopted a tree, go ahead and write a story in which you and that tree have a chat. I would love to read those. And I'm going to learn some leaves this week, and this is just a spot where I can jot them, just as I wanted to learn more birds last week. And I'm still studying those. So it was great to see you. Happy wild writing, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Trees and people live together. The power company cut several branches of these Norway spruces so that the lines could go through. But they're still so beautiful. This is a new sugar shack right next to our property. You can see the tip of our barn way behind it. Our neighbors are tapping the sugar maple trees to make syrup. And they gave some of their delicious maple syrup to us. Here you can see some on a Belgian waffle. Sometimes people grow trees inside. This is a calamondin tree I once had in our living room. These maple trees are in full bud and flower for spring. Look at those little green leaves against the blue sky. When I walk up the hill in these early days of spring, it looks like the trees are all whispering to each other in green. Take a look at this dead elm tree. You can see the shelf fungus at its base. Shelf fungus is a decomposer, and that means this tree is on its way to becoming soil again. We can learn more about trees by spending time outside, by writing about trees, drawing trees, reading about trees, and collecting tree treasures. I wish you a joyful week of tree. Learn more about blind contour drawing and modified contour drawing from this handout by Claire Walker Leslie. In a blind contour drawing, don't lift your pen or pencil from the page. Younger students can talk about this way of drawing with an older sibling or adult. right wild, Mamaroneck friends. Hug a tree.